Hello beautiful humans, hey, it's Jay and welcome back, or welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a fun one as I get to nerd out about my favorite or my bullet journal slash stationery essentials. Quick disclaimer, all you really need to bullet journal is a writing utensil and notebook of your choice, but I thought that it would be fun to share some of my favorite things to have while I bullet journal and things that have made bullet journal easier for me, so I hope you enjoy this video. Obviously, to bullet journal, you need a journal to bullet in. That sounded a lot better in my head, but this is my current bullet journal, Suki. He's the Notebook Therapy Suki Collection Fujisan notebook in the original size, and I absolutely love it. I have friends who are beginning their bullet journal journey this year, and I get a lot of questions on which notebook to use or what paper should I have, and my simple advice is this: whichever notebook fits your needs. You can literally use any journal or notebook to bullet journal. To prove my point, here's Dumbledore, my first bullet journal ever in high school. So this guy is 10 years old, and as you can see, it was very well loved. It's a mini lined notebook that I bought at the dollar store way back when, and at the time in my life, it worked so well for me. It was small enough that I can hold it in my hand or fold it into my back pocket because we couldn't carry my backpacks into classes. And as I got older and got into uni and then into my career, my needs in a bullet journal changed. I had to look at things like, will this look professional to bring into a meeting? Will a semester last in this notebook? Will my stamps leak through? Big ones for me now are size and paper. As you can see as I show you the various notebooks I've used as a Bujo, I have always liked my bullet journals to be on the smaller side, as when I would go out, I would bring it with me everywhere and sometimes even bullet journal on the bus into campus or into the office. I also prefer flat mate notebooks over coil type because I'm left-handed. You have to think about your personal preferences in these things. Now, because I've been incorporating stamps a lot more into my spreads, page thickness has started to be something that I look at so things don't leak through. But all those notebooks you saw weren't labeled as bullet journals. I still use them as bullet journals just to prove my point. But if you do want recommendations for specific bullet journals that are labeled as bullet journals, here are my recommendations. My first one shouldn't come to a surprise for anybody. The notebook therapy ones are great, but they can be a little bit expensive. The notebook that I'm showing you here is one I would definitely recommend to beginners. I picked this up at Michael's, which is a craft store here in Canada. I use this as my sketch bullet journal, and I think I got this for $16, and it's a great bang for your buck. There are 2 bookmarks, there's an envelope at the back, and the page thickness is pretty good. I think it's 120 GSM, so it withstands most pens. If you aren't someone who paints or uses stamps in their bullet journal, then I think this is a great pick for you, especially for those who are bullet journaling on a budget. I think everyone and their mom mentions Archer and Olive when it comes to bullet journaling, and there's a reason for that. The covers are gorgeous and they have a bunch of different sizes and paper types to meet everyone's needs, and it truly doesn't ghost, but they are some of the most expensive notebooks out there, and if you are a fellow Canadian, you'll know that you have to pay additional duties and fees if you're ordering from their website. But I would say the hype around them is true because they do make fantastic notebooks, but overall, just find a notebook that matches your needs and just stick to it. But also, don't be afraid to try different brands or sizes or types. Your Bujo is your Bujo, not anyone else's, and your notebook should reflect that. So, moral of the story is, any notebook works. Next is a writing utensil of your choice. You could have a single pen or you could have 100 pens, but here are some of my Bujo essentials that reflect me as of now. I used to carry a lot more when I was in school because I color-coded my classes, but here is my regular carry. The first is my everyday pen. a lot of people like a black pen for their daily pen. I'm weird and sometimes find black a little too harsh in my eyes, so I use this Muji Blue-Black gel pen as my go-to pen to write down everything and anything. I will put a swatch up here so you can see it. It is dark enough that I can still read it, but not too dark that I get a headache from looking at my paper. Does anyone else get that, or it's just me? I usually have the quick version of the pen on my pen loop in my bullet journal and leave a capped version at home. Also, this is not sponsored by Muji. I wish, but I like the fact that I can buy refills for my pens instead of a whole new pen, so that's why the grip is a little dirty, because these pens are like 6 years old at least, but that is my daily pen. Next is a black ballpoint pen. This is the Muji Polycarbonate black pen in 0.7. I use this when I'm writing down things really quickly and don't have time to wait for things to dry with a gel-based pen. I'm left-handed, smudging is real, but I find that most ballpoints don't smudge with me, so I will use this one when I need to write really quickly. This is also just basically a very dark gray or a light black pen, and it doesn't hurt my eyes. So it's my go-to black pen. It writes very smoothly and doesn't smudge. I swear, I just like the Muji brand. Next is a pencil, also by Muji. This is their 0.5 pencil, and you can use any pencil you like. I just have this one from when I was still in school. But I use the pencil to sketch up my spreads, but also to mark off my color code system for my drink tracker when I don't have my colors on hand with me, or if I have like a song or poem idea and I don't have my song or poem notebook on me, I'll write that verse down in my bullet journal with my pencil. Too personal, but yes. Next, I always have one marker or highlighter on me at all times. This is the Zebra Mildliner, and I have them in most of the colors, but I think I usually have a gray or a yellow of some sort on hand just because of my color coding system. I will get more into markers later in this video, but these are a great stationery item to have. I've used these throughout uni and they aren't dry yet. I like that I can use it as a highlighter, but also as a marker to bullet journal with. I will sometimes carry another one with me if it really matches like the theme of the month, but I would say these are optionals. You don't have to use markers or highlighters in your bullet journals. I just like mine for a pop of color. The last writing utensil is this Uniball Signo white gel pen. I've mentioned these in my other Bujo vids, but I use this to correct small errors I make while I'm bullet journaling, and this is a lifesaver. I prefer the Uniball white pen over the Sakura ones, but to each their own. The white ink is very thick and is great at covering up small mistakes and has definitely saved spreads of mine from looking messy, so I think this is a great one to have on hand, especially if you're a beginner. I also use the white ink to create headers or to write on top of markers or highlighters to create some fun designs. This last part, I guess, is the miscellaneous category. The first is an eraser and whiteout for mistakes. This is the Tombow Mono 2-way, which has a eraser on one end and a whiteout on the other. I like that it's very compact and that's 2 in 1, and that I can also buy refills for this product and just reuse the casing. We are all about refilling stationery apparently. I didn't know that this was going to be a theme in this video, but I guess it is. The eraser doesn't leave those weird marks on my pages, and the whiteout goes on smoothly. So it's always on me, and I have it in my pencil case because I make quite a lot of mistakes when I am bullet journaling. I think the next one is very oddly specific to left-handed people. In my daily carry, I always have this pair of deli compact scissors, which I know sound really weird to have, but it is a struggle to find scissors that actually work for you when you are left-handed, and I cut up a lot of things for my job and to glue things into my bullet journal. So yes, a weird essential, but an essential of mine. The last one is a pencil case. Like I said before, these were things that would always be on me if I was going into the office, but Miss Rona's still around, so I haven't gone in the office in over a year. But if you are going outside your house, and if you are, one, I hope you're staying safe, but having a pencil case is a nice way to know where all your essentials are and not have a messy bag. I got this one from AliExpress last year, and I like how wide it opens to fit things, but also how compact and professional looking it is, and it fits everything that I need. And those are my Bujo essentials. Next, I want to mention some things that are nice to have, but not necessaries for your bullet journal. My first one is a gray pen and gray marker of your choice. I use the gray pen once again because sometimes I don't like the look of black ink on a spread and don't want harsh divisions on my page, and it's something I find I reach for quite often but don't hear a lot of people talk about. Sometimes a black ink or outline takes away from the sketch in your bullet journal or just doesn't match the vibe of your theme, and a gray pen does the same thing but is a lot more subtler and easier on the eyes in my opinion. I have these two. One is a Muji Click pen in the gray, and a new recent favorite of mine, which is the Sakura Jelly Roll in number 445. I also recommend a gray marker or highlighter to beginners as a way to create lines or dividers on a page. I use this method quite often when I'm doing my habit trackers or when I'm creating list form spreads, as seen in my beginning of the year setup. I used this method to create the lines in my monthly trackers. But I like really light grays for this, as you can write over them easily and they don't take away from a page. The two I have here are the Tombow dual brush pen in N75 and the Mildliner in light gray. The Mildliner is what I used all throughout university, but the Tombow has quickly become a favorite of mine just because of how it's a lot lighter than the Mildliner. Once again, this is not a necessity, but I find that it's really helped me in creating balance on my spread and lines to help you from writing crooked like I do. Next is a ruler and some glue. I have two types of glue here. I have a glue tape roller and a glue pen. I like these type of glues over the liquid or stick ones just because they are less messy and sticky and pretty travel friendly if I need to bullet journal away from my desk, and are good to have on hand if you're like me and you like to scrapbook or stick things into your bullet journal to spice up your spreads. Once again, these are refillable, so yay for sustainability. This glue pen is one that I bought last year, and I've actually found it really helpful to use when my washi tapes start to lose their stickiness. I will just use this on the page to make it sticky again. That just sounds really weird. Anyways, next is the ruler. Pretty self-explanatory. I use this to draw straight lines in my spreads, although I am trying to get better at embracing crooked lines and imperfections in my bullet journal. I just have a mini one because I used to carry a ruler with me at all times. It used to live in my pencil case, but you can use anything. You don't even have to use a ruler to draw a straight line, but an essential for me. Next are markers. I have 3 different types here, but once again, markers and highlighters and anything of that sort is optional. I like them because I like color in my spreads, and here are some that I recommend. You don't need all 3, but these are some pretty good choices to begin with. The first, as I've mentioned before, are Mildliners, and these are my most grabbed markers for bullet journaling and for work. I like that it's a multifunctional with marker and a chisel tip, and that the colors aren't too bright that they hurt my eyes, but they also aren't too dark that I can't write over them. I've had these since I was a student and will continue to use them until they dry out. These are at a pretty okay price point here in Canada, and I personally got these on sale on Amazon, but I know that Michael's and sometimes Walmart has them too. I like the colors that they have for this, and they are very pretty looking pens also. Next is a budget-friendly option, and these are the Crayola Supertips. Fun fact, these are the oldest stationery item that I have, and these markers are from like primary school days, so these are at least 12 years old. I did a big clean out of all my stationery and found a bunch of Supertips that weren't dried out, so I've decided just to keep them and use them occasionally in my spreads for pops of color. These are super cheap and have a wide variety of colors and uses. The tip I know a lot of people love because of how versatile it is. You can use it to color, to outline, and also do calligraphy. So I recommend these, one, because of the price point, but also considering how old mine are and they still work totally fine. These are really great to invest in. I mostly have darker tone markers left, but I would consider investing in one of these in the future one day. The last markers I want to talk about are the Tombow Duo brush pens. I feel like every content creator I see talk about these, and I recently purchased them just to see how they were like. I only have the individuals and not the package sets because I use my Tombows more to fill in the gaps of my colors. So if I can't find a color in the Mildliners or the Supertips that I have left, I'll see if I can find it in a Tombow. Like the Mildliners, it is dual-ended and comes in a variety of colors to help brighten up any spread. And these are, however, the most expensive out of the markers, so I'm not too sure I would recommend these to beginners. But if you are looking for some really specific colors, or you do calligraphy in your bullet journal or as a hobby, these might be a good investment piece for you. My personal recommendation is the Mildliner, just because I've had them for so long, but I think if you are on a budget, the Supertips are the way to go. The last item that I consider nice to have for your bullet journal and make bullet journaling a lot easier are stamps and ink pads. I use some sort of stamp in every single one of my planning these, and while I do like their aesthetic, what I love about stamps is that they're such time savers, especially if you make repetitive spreads in your monthly setups. I wasn't even sure if I should add ink pads to this list because for the longest time, if you've watched me before, you'll know, I used a calligraphy pen to ink my stamps. But if you are buying ink, I would suggest black as a very good one to start with, and very basic and very versatile. And you already know that I like my gray tones, so another one I would recommend is a gray ink pad, but I think you are pretty good if you just have a black one. Some of my favorite stamps to use are my letter stamps, which you can see are very well loved, but I also really like my calendar stamp because I use this for monthly setups, but also for habit trackers, as well as a new or recent purchase of mine, which is a drink tracking stamp that I use for my daily drink intake. Stamps are not a necessity, but I personally really like them for the effect they give to the spread and the efficiency they have at making things look uniform and how easy they are to use. And if you have it in your budget, I would suggest investing in 1 or 2 stamps that you think you can get a lot of use out of. And that completes my list of my Bujo essentials. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you're taking care of yourself. I love you to the moon back, and see you in my next one. Jay.